Hi guys, this is Diane here from Design Creative, and today I'm going to give you a quick review of Headway 3.7, the new version of Headway 3.7 that we've all been waiting for. Now, at the time of recording, this is Headway 3.7.2. It got released yesterday and there's been a couple of bugs of it. And I'm assuming that there's going to be probably more bugs of it in the next couple of features, but they're trying to sort out all the kinks right now, I guess. So I just want to show you this tutorial or this review to show you all the new stuff that is happening within Headway 3.7. I may even go through stuff that happened in 3.6 because my brain right now is really lazy and everything just seems new to me with the new interface and everything like that. So I'm not going to jabber on as I usually do. I'm going to get right into the meat of what has been changed. Now, when you upload Headway for the first time, the first thing you see is a new Getting Started page, which you would usually get when you upload WordPress. You know, you get your Getting Started or your Welcome to WordPress. So this, you have a Getting Started screen, which is basically a quick link to all the places that you need to get to. So Getting Started, if you're beginners, you can go to the Headway Beginners Guide. You've got a visual editor here that you can click onto to get straight to the visual editor, or sorry, the basics, learn the basics of the visual editor. Oh, sorry, there's a link to both. So you've got the visual editor here and you've got a link to learn about the visual editor here. You can jump to options, you can jump to tools, there's support here, documentation, templates and blocks. So just have a quick read through that and you get a clear idea of what is there. But you probably wouldn't need this. This is really for beginners who have got no idea about Headway at all. Now, the next thing you're going to notice is that templates is now in the normal menu screen. It is no longer in the back end of Headway. It's in the front end of Headway. So this makes it easier, I guess, for you to install new templates if you need to, export new templates, export templates if you need to. It's just better. I prefer it this way, to be honest. I prefer it this way rather than how it was before. It just seems like this is the right place for it to go, don't you think? I don't know. So anyway, yeah, we got the Getting Started at the front and we have got the templates at the front. So now let's go and have a look at the grid. One of the first things that's going to strike you is that we no longer have the beautiful black editor that we used to have, and it's such a shame because I miss it so much. But because I've been beta testing this for approximately about 4 weeks now, I've gotten used to how this looks. But when I have a look at my old client site and I'm like, oh my god, like just massive changes, you don't even realize. But there's a guy called Dave from Ginger Soul Records that's created like this mini plugin that allows you to change the colors of the back end. I might provide a link to that at the bottom once I've contacted him and asked him if I can have his permission to do that. But he's developed this scheme where I think it's a certain add-on that you can get with Chrome or Firefox that allows you to change the back end colors of this. It's really quite advanced and quite cool. But anyway, let's forget about that. Let's just concentrate on the fact that it's white now and there's nothing we can do about it unless we add that add-on. But I'm getting used to the white thing. I'm getting used to it. They did say that they wanted it to mimic sort of how WordPress looks, which is cool, I guess. But I kind of like the fact that it was dark and it left. I felt like I was concentrating or I was focusing more on what I needed to do. But anyway, never mind that. So what has changed other than the fact that it's all gone white? What's changed is that we have to now add wrappers using these little markers here. So we can add a wrapper here and we can add a wrapper here to go on the bottom. To make it go full width, we would need to right click and we would choose change wrapper to fluid, and we would right click again to change the grid to fluid. Now this is maybe one of the things that I feel like they've gone backwards in Headway, whereas before you was able to select an option up here and you was able to select exactly what type of wrapper you want, it's now kind of added a few more clicks for you to get that wrapper. But never mind, because it's also added some other extra features which are fantastic. And one of the extra features that they added is if you right click, you can now set the wrapper alias to whatever you want. So I can now call this footer, and bam, I've now called this footer. Whereas before you would have to click on the actual options, and then you would have to scroll down to where is it? Mirroring and config, and then you would have to put the wrapper alias in here. Now currently it doesn't have the wrapper alias in here because I think you have to save it before it actually goes into the wrapper alias, but that's not a problem at all. So up here, if I wanted to set this wrapper now to a header, I can easily do that. And the great thing is it's not just limited to wrappers. You can also add a block. So if I add a image block here, I can now right click and set this block alias to image or whatever I want to set it to. Let's have a look. It hasn't added it, but if I press save, fingers crossed it would have added it. I don't know. Let's go to mirroring and config. Oh, it hasn't even added it. So maybe I've spotted a little bug here. We'll see. Maybe I have to write that down. But never mind, because we're probably going to notice a couple of bugs while I'm doing this. And the bugs don't really matter at this moment in time because they're in the middle of fixing it, so it's cool. Right, so that's one thing. Let me just get rid of all of this. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Now, one thing I want to show you is you have just seen me get rid of all these wrappers, right? Well, say if I now decided, oh my gosh, I really didn't want to do that. I can press snapshots, and snapshots basically allows me to roll shit back. So let me roll this now and see what happens. And now it's brought me here. Every time a snapshot is made, it is saved into your database. All of the information which you do here, so if I lay out a block here, if I lay out a block here, if I add a wrapper here, all of this information is not saved in your files, it's saved in your database. So snapshots basically allow you to roll shit back. Now say if I say to myself, do you know what? I like how this looks right now, but I may want to edit it later. Let me save my own snapshot. And you can do that by pressing snapshot and then press save snapshot, and you can name it. So I'm going to name this is my snapshot. Save. So at any given moment, I can now roll back to this if I decide I no longer want it to look like this anymore. I want it to look like the previous version. And this is a fantastic addition to Headway. It's the most, in fact, it's one of my favorite additions to Headway. Obviously, it won't save every single thing that you do, okay? i.e., if you just put this here and you've done that and then you decided, you know what, I'm going to delete that. I don't want that there, I'm going to put something else there, and you haven't saved it, then it's not going to save those changes that you've done. It's really just going to save the changes that you've done when you've saved your document. So this is a great addition to add. I think it's super fantastic, and I probably will be using it a lot, knowing me and the mistakes that I constantly make in Headway. Another thing that they have added, there was a block that they've added called search. And search is basically exactly what you think it is. It's the search function that we have in the menu bar that they've now moved out of the menu bar, and they've got its own little block for it. So you can see here now we've got search and we've got a button here. We've got a button here which doesn't really show because there's previous styling on here currently from another Headway version, another Headway theme that I did. So just to make life a little bit easier, I'm going to go to the I'm going to go over here, and I don't really want to show you this straight away because we're going to come into the design editor and talk a bit more about the design editor, but I just wanted to show you the search button properly with a white background so you could see. So here I can put bulk page creator, and of course I can't press search because I'm inside the actual visual editor, and it's not going to work. But as you can see, don't worry about all of this. You're probably looking and thinking, what the hell? But it's fine. Things have been changed. It's all white. I know. So let me go back to the grid editor now and see if we could find anything else that sort of stands out to me. There was another block which they added, which is the pin board block. Now, if you are a seasoned user of Headway, you would already know about the pinboard block. The pinboard block is basically used to, let's have a look, to give you a pin interest type look for your posts or for your site, yeah? Before they had this as an independent block, but now they have moved this into the actual core of Headway itself, which is super cool. Probably not super cool for people who just bought the block because now they're thinking, wait a second, that's like $30. Okay, fine. So yeah, you may be a bit annoyed about that, but the good thing about that is that we no longer have to pay for that additional license every year, because now it's installed onto Headway. The same with like the WooCommerce block, where we had to install that WooCommerce block before to get the proper styling for WooCommerce to work on our site. We no longer have to use that as well because all of that is now being integrated into Headway. So let's have a look. I'm just trying to think if there is anything else. There was another block which they added, but they decided not to go ahead with it, and that's the hero block. The hero block sort of is like a text block and an image block put together, really. I'm still trying to figure out why they would use that block, but I guess in some ways it would help, but you would learn more about that, I guess, in the next couple of upgrades of Headway. Maybe in Headway 3.7.5 they may release that, but there was a few issues with that block, I think, and they decided to hold that block back. At the moment I'm just like forever adding blocks and deleting them. I don't know why I'm doing that right now, so that is probably a pure indication that I need to go into the design editor and show you the madness that is happening over here. Now, the design editor is probably one of my favorites, another one of my favorite additions to the site. To be honest, let me just go back, because I know you're thinking, well, you know, the design editor is not an addition. I don't really mean as addition. I really mean as an improvement. They've really improved that section of the site. I'm going to add a couple of things here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the grid wizard on, and I'm going to put on a preset. You know I don't like presets, right? But I'm going to add a preset anyway. So here's my preset. I'm going to get rid of these wrappers right here. Go away, go away. And I'm going to name this snapshot as preset. For no particular reason, I just want to get used to saving snapshots. So let me press save. Let me go over to the design editor. And here we are. Ta-da! The design editor. So, the design editor, what has changed within the design editor? Quite a few things have changed within the design editor. The first thing that's changed within the design editor is that we now have a completely new CSS editor. And you're probably thinking, why do we have a new CSS editor, and what is it doing to benefit me in my life? Well, if we have a look at this menu, I'm going to open the block options of this menu, and I'm going to call this menu, because I haven't set a block alias, I'm just going to call this menu. Okay. hopefully it would work what I'm going to do, because I haven't actually planned anything out. Oh yes, and I forgot to add, if you have multiple screens on your computer, like me, currently I'm using my TV screen, my laptop screen, and another screen. So I've got 3 screens right now, and you can't really see what I'm doing, but if you have 3 screens or 2 screens, or you work with multiple screens, you're now able to move your CSS editor into a different screen. So it's not part of it's not part of Headway anymore. It is part of Headway, but you can now separate stuff, which is really, really cool for people like me who, just like to show off and have different screens on my computer. So anyway, back to why this design editor is cool. So if I right click the menu and click edit this instance, now before, in the old Headway, you would need to select, you would have like a button up here and it would say select the instance, or select, what was the other one that they would say? So we got menu items, so, and select the states, yeah? They had like a number of buttons up here, which was quite, like, it wasted your time, because every time you came into Headway and you went into Design Editor and then you clicked on, for instance, the navigation, you would have to click on this button to make sure that it clicked on this particular navigation. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. You can literally just click on anything and it will go directly to that particular element without you having to click any other button to reach to this element. If you need to click for all elements, obviously you can click edit regular element, and that will select all of your body text. But if you just want to collect, sorry, I keep saying collect, I don't know why. If you want to select this body text for this block, then it would go to that block. Okay, at the moment it says content unnamed, but I have named it. I think I named it. No, I didn't. Let me try and name it now. If I open block options, I'm going to name this my content. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to refresh this page. And now when I click edit this instance, you can see it says my content there. Another amazing thing that they've done, I know that I'm kind of steering away from the CSS editor, but it's all going to make sense, okay? We're going to come back to the CSS editor in a minute. Another thing that I really like about what they've added to Headway is that, say if, sometimes you'll be on, you'll select a particular thing. So, for instance, let me select the meta hyperlinks and I'll right click it. Now, sometimes we might want to just go to a particular element that is not the meta links. It could be something else. So there's this other option here called parents that allows you to go to, so for instance, we got my content meta, that's what we clicked, but then it says the parent of meta is this post entry container, so we can go there, or we can go to my content, or we can go to wrapper header, or we can go to body, or we can go to HTML document. So it gives you a proper hierarchy of where this element falls into. So if you do end up selecting a certain element and you're like, you know what, I need to go to the parent of this element, so I need to just go to the whole content block itself. When you select that, it changes this instant up here. So now it says my content, and now you can edit this and it would show you the red box to say that you are editing the whole of this box here. You see? And if I didn't want to edit that, I want to edit the wrapper, I can press edit this instance, and now I've selected the whole wrapper that is the parent of this element. So that is what I would say super cool. Okay, super cool. And as you can see, I've named this wrapper here header. Now let's go into the CSS and why the CSS is cool. I mean, I kind of talked it up a bit, and really it's not as cool as the rest of the stuff, but I kind of like the new CSS editor. But there's one particular thing that I really don't like, and that is, remember when we had the CSS editor before, and we would select a block and it would give us this syntax. It would give us, oops, here. It would say block 24. That's what we had. That was easy for us to remember. We knew what we were looking for, well, to a certain extent, and it was just easy. Now they've given you this long string of text that I've got no idea what this is. It's annoying, and I really wish that they didn't change it like that. But in some ways it's cool, because we can add our own classes to the wrapper, which I didn't do at this time, but it's fine. And we can, for instance, actually let me do this to the to this block here. So I'm going to select this block. I'm going to open a block options. I don't know why I went to parent, but never mind. I'm going to add a class here called content. Actually, content may be not a great one. Content underscore new. Okay. And I'm going to open up the, let's press save. I'm going to, because I like pressing save, I'm going to open up the CSS editor, and I'm going to write class, which is that content underscore new. And what you would notice, why I like this new editor, is the fact, can you see that there is a little box here that shows warning, something is wrong. This is what I like about the new CSS editor, is it's now looking at our code and telling us if there's an issue with our code, which is cool, because there's plenty of times I'm sure that we put codes in the CSS and then something has gone wrong over here because we've forgotten to add a closing bracket, or we've forgotten to add a semicolon somewhere or whatever. So this is a great feature. I can't remember the exact script that they're using for this, but this is a great feature to have in CSS, in our CSS editor, and probably is long overdue. So I'm so happy that they've done this. But anyway, let me add a curly brace here, and I'm going to say background color red. And even though I've changed it here and you can't see anything here, if you refresh you will see that I have a red background here. I'm sure that if I refresh here now, the background color should also change. And if it doesn't, then we've probably spotted another bug, which is no problem at all. But that's cool. So let me just get rid of this because this looks really bad. And we press save. Now, what other features here do I like? The feature here that I like is we have global styling, as what we had before. We have the structure, and we have the blocks. And what you can do is you can toggle between what blocks are there and what blocks aren't there. So at the moment it's only showing me the blocks. At the moment it's only showing me the blocks that I'm using on the actual site. If I press this button, it will show me all the blocks, regardless if they're there or not. So this is a good way to save on space. This is a good way to save on, you know, just basically to focus on what you really, really need to focus on. Now, if we go into text, for instance, they've also added other little features in our styling. A few people have asked for you to be able to change from pixels to percentages to em to rems. So now if I change this to 14%, you can see all the text on here change. If I change it to 14em, you can see how massive this is. You can change it to rem and it's the same. Let's just keep that on pixels. The same with line height. You can change these to pixels, percentages. So now you've got like a different, you've got different values now. Whereas before you would just have pixels, you now have different values that you can add to a number of things. And that is including margins. And I think that's including padding as well. So that's really a great feature that's been added to Headway. Another feature that has been added to Headway is styles that are already added that you may want to delete. So for instance, with the menu, if I click edit regular element, so this is going to change every single menu that is on the site before, now and after I add any other navigation to the site, and I can press styles up here. Sorry about these notifications. I can press styles and I can get rid of all of the styles that are attributed to the navigation really easily like that. The same with this. If I click edit regular element, I can click styles and it gives me, it says this is for everything that's to do with the body. On every single wrapper or every single content block that you add, you will always have a font color of this. The font size will always be 14 and the line height will always be 180. And you can also go inside and change the line height if you need to for everything, so everything is the same. I think you can also copy and paste. I've seen a few people saying, how do you do this copy and paste feature? You can select, if I wanted to copy this styling for my widgets, I literally just hover over here. Well, not hover over, I make sure that the font is selected, press Ctrl C, and you will see copied properties from body text. And I would go over now to the widget. I'd right click that, make sure that that's selected, click on fonts, and then I will literally Ctrl V, and now that's been pasted. So you can see now that's how easy it is to copy and paste. A few people were like, oh, how do you copy and paste? I didn't know that it was literally copy and paste. So that's great for when you want to, that's a really quick and easy way for you to move stuff around without having to manually go into options and change stuff. So I think that's about it, really. I cannot think of anything else that has been added to Headway. No, I can't think of anything else really that's been added that's just made this thing so bloody great. I'm really impressed really with this whole feature and how simplified they've made it for us. I'm glad that they've done it. So I hope that you like this little review. I don't really know whether this is called a review or not. It's definitely not a tutorial, but it is a review. We're reviewing Headway, the new updated version of Headway. Again, nothing really. I can't think of anything else, really. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the other side. Bye.